active wear. I'm greeting my timber in my active wear. G'day everyone. Ladies that brought us the active wear song, thank you so very much. We love it. I pass it on to everyone. It's shared pride and joy. Mr. Roly Poly, thank you very much for your crest. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for your interest in the videos. Stay unreal, banana peel. Question for today is the different types of timber that we use in construction and their different uses. So what I've got today is a vast array of different types of timbers and also the different manufactured timbers of today, or a couple of them at least anyway. The world wide over, we've got two types of timbers used. One's a hardwood, one's a softwood. Softwood is a conifer tree such as pine, cypress pine, radiata pine, Oregon. Anything that has needle-like leaves is non-deciduous, so it doesn't lose its leaves. It's evergreen. It keeps its green all the year round. And then we've got hardwoods such as teak, oak, elm, and these are deciduous trees. So these trees lose all of their green leaves throughout the year, except in Australia. We're a little bit special, and that's why we've got the Tasmanians, because we've got a eucalypt. The eucalypt is a hardwood. It's a very good timber. It's very structurally sound. It doesn't lose its leaves on and off. It's an evergreen also. In Australia, we mainly use two different types, which is the radiata pine and the eucalypt. So step with me, and I'm just going to show you those two first. So what I've got here is a piece of hardwood. Now you can see down the grain there, all the way down, that it's nice and long and straight. You'll also see here that all of the grain is very close together and it's very dense, hard timber. I can't really mark that with my fingernail at all. Here, right next to it, what I've got is a piece of pine. Here you can see I can mark that very easily. It's soft, it's light, again it's nice and long and keeps a consistent shape. The two timbers that we use in Australia have gone through a domestication process. If you haven't seen the video about trees and domestication, check out the video with the tree doctor, Dr. Page. One thing to take into consideration is just because it says that it is a hardwood or a softwood doesn't mean that it always is. This here is a piece of cypress pine, and cypress pine is actually harder than a lot of hardwoods that we use. The one problem though that we have with cypress pine is it's got a lot of knots in it. If you have a look at the knots come from branches as the tree grows, and the tree can grow over that branch and then it leaves the knot as the branch falls off or gets engulfed by the growth rings. But it can create weak points, and so the weak points allow it to break or snap. And that's why we've got to be careful with the cypress pine and things like that. We do use a lot of cypress pine now for posts, but we still don't use it for the structural members inside a house in construction. One other characteristic that I wanted to show you with this hardwood, and it's only because of today's new technologies, is that we've got a finger join through here. And these finger joins show that we're able to utilise all of the offcuts of timber. And that helps us out immensely, get the most out of each and every tree that we use. Trees are E0, which means it emits no emissions. What that means, in a nutshell, for all of you other people, is that it doesn't put out any pollutants. If we use steel or anything like that, we have to mine it and we have to manufacture it and shape it into what we need to. The great thing with timber is that there's two things. One is that it is anisotropic, which means that it has strengths in all different directions. So we can use it for many different uses. And I'll show you here with a couple of other pieces of timber that are manufactured for that. The other thing is that it's E0. So what it does is it breathes in carbon dioxide and it breathes out oxygen for us to breathe and to have a cleaner atmosphere. It also, a group of trees together also help a lot with wind pressures. So that's why we've got to be really cautious about where we get our timbers from, and that we don't get them from tropical rainforests that are being desecrated throughout by massive logging companies that are coming in and taking all the logs for a very cheap price. So we need to be very cautious about where we buy our timber from, and it's good to understand what our loggers go through to get good top quality timber. Here I've got a piece of Oregon. Now Oregon's a conifer. You can see here the growth rings in the side. They're very close together. It's quite thick and it's also quite high. So that's 200 mil. The one next to it here is a 220 mil. Now, these two have the exact same spanning ability, and this one is much smaller than this one in thickness. This is due to the fact that it's manufactured, and it's what we call a GL13. It is a pine, a softwood, that have got fillets of timber, and they're cold pressed together with glues in between. What this does is it ensures that this has characteristics that we can use and utilise throughout whatever we're building. What this also ensures is that we can put pesticides in it, so it stops any bugs, termites, etc. getting into it, but it also, we can treat it so there's no rot that can get into it, and it doesn't become structurally unsound. These can come with a pre-camber, so it sits like that, and it can span vast distances with extra strength. We're able to test it, and we can consistently get a good strength out of that. That's a manufactured timber, and the best thing about that is that we can utilise all of the offcuts of our timbers. Another man-made timber is this one here, which is called LVL, or laminated veneered lumber. And they're all little fillets that are pressed together, and they make one big board. These are, again, treated so no termites can get into them, and they stop rot. But the one problem is, because they're thin pieces of board laminated together like this, what ends up happening is that when moisture gets to it, it actually spreads and opens up too much. So what actually happens is this opens up, and I've seen quite often, more and more in today's day and age, these, or builders using these outside on decking areas, and you cannot use them on decking areas outside, whatever you do, because what ends up happening is they open up and they lose their strength. You need to use structural timbers that are made for an outside use, such as treated pine or a hardwood that's been covered with a paint, like a rubber seal or a waterproofing compound of some sort. Melbourne completed recently one of the biggest apartment buildings in the world that is completely manufactured from timber products. That is great news. What that shows is that we can create things that are as energy efficient as possible, as close to E0 as possible, and that works with the environment as much as possible without using steels and metals and things that we have to mine for and then manufacture up. All we need to make sure of within that, though, is that we can utilise and use timbers that come from clean logging areas and that have gone through a good process to ensure that we've got high quality timbers. If you've got any questions or queries other than that, please flick them over. Mr. Rowley Senior, I hope that helps you out and answers all of your questions about construction timbers on site. There are many other timbers. There's all new technologies that are coming out to the building industry. So I'll try and keep you up to date with any and all of those as they come up. Timber use has spanned throughout the entire life of human beings. We have utilised the characteristics of timber from building to weaponry to even the first aeroplane was ever made was timber. All of our boats are timber. So we can really utilise timber, and it's a clean, beautiful, energy efficient material. So I suggest, if you're a carpenter or a builder, do your homework and figure out the best materials that you can have for your purpose. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay awesome, and please subscribe.